Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy SonTj here to make a video. Don't know if it's gonna be quick because every time I say a quick video it ends up being 10 minutes plus. It's like the YouTube algorithm has made me like somehow always have content be above like 10 minutes. It's insane. And also I talk a lot. But today, I'm here to talk about Yu Yu Hakusho. I've been talking about Yu Yu Hakusho for a couple weeks now. I decided to do this whole big rewatch, and I thought I was gonna be finished with it faster. I thought I was going to be able to get to Hunter, and get to Inuyasha, but at this point, I think I'm going to like probably rewatch Inuyasha through like some skims. I already know what happens in Inuyasha pretty well, more than I did in Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter back in the day. Then I'm going to actually do a legit rewatch of Hunter. Then after I finish Hunter, then I'll move on to Mob Psycho, and we're just going to keep going from there. But yeah, I rewatched the entirety of Yu Yu Hakusho with the Funimation dub because only a few animes I watch in dub and others I just watch in sub. And Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho and I guess Bleach, and maybe a few other animes that I really enjoy watching in dub. All the other ones like like Naruto and other shows like that I need in sub, right? So I'll watch all 4 sagas, and only in Funimation they really do the whole sagas thing. I get it, like hardcore fans. It's arcs, SonTj. It's arcs. I get it, but the 4 major arcs, I watch them on my Blu-ray set. Also, I need to rewatch Full Malcolm's Brotherhood too. There's so much anime I need to rewatch because look. This is the biggest thing. Here's like me completely open here. When I was younger, I did watch these animes a long time ago, but all I really cared about was the fights and power scaling. I didn't really care about the journey or the actual story. So, for example, I know who wins in the end of Full Malcolm's Brotherhood, but I barely remember the story anymore. You know what I mean? So I wasn't the greatest anime fan when I was younger, okay? Like, I just watched stuff and cared about the fighting and power scaling. Now that I'm older, I really want to remember the storytelling and I want to enjoy the journey, okay? So that's one of the main reasons why I did this. And there's the Spirit Detective Saga, the Dark Tournament Saga, the Chapter Black Saga, and the Three Kings Saga. The Three Kings Saga is the shortest one, from what I can tell. The Dark Tournament is the most iconic. The Chapter Black Saga is the best, in my personal opinion. And the Spirit Detective is the cliche of cliches, right? Now, it took me a while to watch all this, but this is just me giving my personal opinion. Because again, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Yu Yu Hakusho. Again, I already knew that all this stuff. People are telling me over and over again, this is way better than Dragon Ball Z. Yusuke is a better main protagonist. And a lot of people like Lotus X Sakura, just pretty much sucking this anime off, right? So I just like what, I'm gonna rewatch it, give it a fair shake. And you want to like know my power scaling, all the videos I made. I've made like 4 lists talking about this here. So let's begin here. So I would say, let's just give me my few rankings of the saga so far. I'll just say the Spirit Detective Saga, it doesn't age the greatest. Again, the beginning is, iconic. You have Yusuke, saves a kid, he's this edgy kid, and this, again, the way these characters are drawn, they're not 14, man. Come on, they're drawn to be damn near like 18. But again, they do this whole thing where even the dub, they do this whole thing where they talk so adult-like, but they're apparently 14 or 15 years old. And I'm also going to talk about the manga and anime differences. Like, again, I know a few spoilers from the manga, and I'm just like, why did they include that in the anime? That's really insane, right? But regardless, the biggest thing is iconic, right? You get to learn Yusuke, you get to learn how much a punk he is, and just pretty much thinking that he doesn't feel like anyone's going to miss him when he goes, when he's saved by Botan. And you learn about, his love interest, which is Keiko, which I keep confused as Kikyo from my freaking Inuyasha, because the names are so damn similar. But you got Keiko, you got Kurobara, you got Botan. Then you get to see Kurama and Hiei later on in the series. But overall, like, the main cast is really great. And if I just talk about the dub, the voice acting was incredible here. Kurobara is one of the most iconic voices I've ever heard in dub history. He just steals every scene he's in. Shouts out to Chris Sabat doing that voice as insane. And I think Justin Cook as Yusuke is incredible. Like, there's a few voices in the dub that's abused, right? Like the voice actor who does Captain Ginyu, RIP, he passed away last year. They used that man's voice for every demon or for every evil teacher for a good majority of this entire show, right? And again, I've heard that this is like Funimation when it was like, you know, first starting out, or at least, you know, not as iconic where they are now. Like they're doing, you know, they're still doing One Piece, they're still doing Dragon Ball Super, and you know, they're not as big as they were then. So they was limited in voices, but man, that was kind of getting annoying, man. I heard Captain Ginyu's voice every other episode. But yeah, so Yusuke. For the Spirit Detective Saga and a good amount of the Dark Tournament Saga, he really was a walking cliche of pretty much, it was just always like he doesn't care, so that's what was weakening him. And then like as soon as he thought about his girl Keiko, or he finally learned how to like his friends, he started getting these like overall omega power boosts. Or for example, like I watch a YouTuber like Totally Not Mark, where he always makes these videos where he's talking about he doesn't like it when series make establishing rules, then they just kind of break those rules out of just plot BS, right? Yusuke did that for every single episode for a good majority of the Spirit Detective Saga. Like it'll be a rule saying you can't do this, Yusuke figures out a way to break the rule. Or Genkai will say, you know, this is the rule, no exceptions, and then Yusuke will come in like 5 minutes late and be like, okay, I'll bring him in. Like, you know, it was a lot of those going on for a big part of it, right? And it wasn't no real big bad, I guess you could say like rando, but it was mostly about the character development for each of these characters, right? And again, it was a little bit slow for a little bit. Again, I just love Kurobari stole every scene, and Keiko, they do a great job of not making her a damsel in distress, because honestly, Yusuke for the beginning part of the series is the damsel in distress, which is actually a good flip on the head there. But again, it does a good job because again, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Sailor Moon are pretty much the quarter, like they're the founding fathers of like shonen, really, along with like Yu Yu Hakusho, not Yu Yu Hakusho, god damn it, Yu-Gi-Oh. In terms of like the founding fathers of Shonen Jump. I remember reading Shonen Jump volumes back in the day, and I saw Yu Yu Hakusho, I saw Dragon Ball, I saw Yu-Gi-Oh, and I saw Sailor Moon there. So it's hard to really judge it having the same standards as, like, you know, because Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Seven Deadly Sins, pretty much a lot of these like modern anime have copied from Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, and Yu-Gi-Oh, in like different aspects, right? So you can't really be that too harsh, but again, you get to see the cliches pretty hard nowadays, you know what I mean? Especially with some of the things these characters say, like, bro, like, again, this is whole movement to get rid of like Roshi now, because, you know, Roshi's too much of a perv, blah blah blah. And when you rewatch all these old animes, like Yusuke is like, you know, just touching Keiko, like, you know, without no permission. Or you're watching Inuyasha where you have Morocco, or I forgot his name, like the dude with the like with the wind tunnel in his hand, just touching chicks' butt with no permission. Like, again, this is just an anime trope, and Yusuke is not. He's a victim of it as well. Like, you know, just doing all that Japanese, like, you know, pervert stuff. So, you know, just again, don't be too judgmental over this old anime in certain aspects, right? But again, we see, like, you know, Yusuke eventually grow and like learn his abilities. You know, he only has like the 5 spirit gun limit, and I just really enjoyed that they made me like this cast, and the dubbing is pretty good, right? And like to end like that Spirit Detective Saga, we get introduced to the bigger bad coming up, to Goro and his elder. But I'm not gonna lie, Yukina, her voice acting was terrible for majority. I think it got better near the end of the series, but that voice actress was struggling, yo. But again, Botan, which is pretty much like British Chi-Chi, I liked it all right. Then we can go to the Dark Tournament. Dark Tournament, I remember most of this art because that was like the biggest pool on Toonami back in the day. And you get to see Yusuke become more of a legit hero and not just like, you know, my friends and like, you know, just random breaking the rules stuff. He's actually training with Genkai. I remember when he's unlocking the Spirit Wave Orb, this man is screaming and yelling for 5 episodes straight. And I'm just like, yo. But it does a really great job with like the storytelling of Genkai and Togoro's relationship, and like not being too beat over the head of Togoro's motivation. It's very subtle, which is actually really good. So like Togoro is like, again, he's a victim of the whole like super buff percentage power levels type main villain, but I like him. You know, you have like the weird dubbing with like Jin and Chu, which is like this weird like British like drunken weird voicing. still good there. But the biggest thing I would say for these first 2 arcs is that the animation is not the greatest. Again, it's older anime, right? But I would say the art and direction is insane. Like, there's so many like great camera work with colors, with shadows, amazing stuff, right? It's just that the fight choreography makes you really appreciate anime like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. Like, even though they was both made around the same time, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z age a lot better. Hell, even Dragon Ball GT aged a lot better in terms of like combat for a majority of Yu Yu Hakusho's run. It really kicks up in the chapter Black and a little bit of the Three King Saga, but even then, I felt like the art in like, well, not the art, the animation kind of dropped in that saga. Like, I felt like the fight choreography didn't really like live up to the chapter Black. But yeah, the Dark Tournament, pretty good. Like, it was just a mixture of just like a lot of twists and turns. And Kurama taking unnecessary damage for every single time he gets in there. But hey, he has like an unwinnable, like he never takes an L throughout the entire arc. And Yusuke gets like a legit win and everything. So I think that's a pretty good arc. And you just kind of see Yusuke transforming from being like an edgelord. Not really, he's more of an edgelord in the manga, you know, smoking and everything like that. But he's getting better and he's like becoming like a better boyfriend because he's actually letting know Keiko what's happening. And you see Kuwabara become like a fanboy of Yukina. Again, that voice acting was hard to listen to, bro. It was pretty hard. But yeah, then we move on to the gold standard of Yu Yu Hakusho, the Chapter Black Saga. Now, being very honest, I would say the Dark Tournament is a strong 6 to 7 out of 10. It's a little bit better than a lot of like shonen cliches, but you know, it's hard to really make a tournament's saga or arc really good, especially since it's kind of aged at this point. Like, you know, just nothing but everyone's evil, everything is twisty turns. Again, I think it's pretty good though. I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. The Spirit Detective Saga is really hard to judge because that beginning part is so iconic, but the later part, it gets very kind of like, you know, my friends and girlfriend and I just overpower everyone type thing. So I'll give it like a strong like 6 out of 10. But this Chapter Black Saga changes everything. This is where Yu Yu Hakusho finds its footing and becomes its own thing, where it's not like, you know, a victim of old shonen cliches. Like, everything is so incredible, right? Because one, Yusuke becomes so powerful that he thinks he's stronger than everyone, right? That's like the big thing that comes up. Then you get to see characters that are nowhere near strong as Yusuke at this point, because he's like damn near close to like A class as a demon, right? Or like a demon, like a fighter at this point, right? But you see characters that like are humans but have hacks abilities. You see each character like grow and like learn different abilities. Like, you see Kurama flex his intelligence, flex his like his ability to just be ruthless. You see Hiei, I'm having a hard time saying that name. Also, Hiei is literally just Android 17. But again, there's certain voices that I know are like copies of Dragon Ball or different shows, but I think they kind of stay in their own place. Like, I don't only hear Android 17 where I hear Hiei, right? But you see Hiei get exposed a little bit for not being that smart. Like, you get to see a lot of these characters' weaknesses and strengths throughout this entire arc, which is incredible. Sensui is definitely the best villain in the entire series. Again, the whole 7 personality thing is not fleshed out that much in the anime, at least. You only get to see like 4 personalities, and we just know 1 is gay. Also, what I was gonna say in the Spirit Detective Saga, sorry to go back and forth, Yusuke says the most, like, if he said this now, he'd be canceled so hard. So is this one character who's like LGBTQ or whatever? She has like woman body parts, but she's actually a man, and like homie says straight up, he grabs and he's like, hey, if you're gonna like turn into a woman, don't do it half-ass. I'm just like, jeez, man. Yusuke, boy, like, if people are after Roshi like that, man, they would be after Yusuke's ass, bro. Like, come on, man. Japan was wilded. And I know there's worse stuff out there, but like, you know, I mean, we're in a system ass time. But to get back on the Chapter Black, man, I just really love the set pieces of it. The animation is actually at its best in this arc. Like, fights actually look really good. They look kind of consistent. It's not just random fists. Because that's why one of my biggest negatives of the last 2 arcs is that, like, people who are real martial artists, I'm not gonna like attack Yusuke because Yusuke is just a street fighter, right? But you have fighters like Hiei or Kurama, or you have like Genkai or Toguro, legit martial artists, and they're just swinging swords or swinging ropes just in like bad animation. Like, again, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and anime around that era, that was kind of repetitive, but like you see the actual martial arts in Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball. But this, it's just a lot of swinging and a lot of great set pieces in art, but just very lackluster action. And man, the action with Yusuke and Sensui is actually above average in this. Like, I like especially the fights before Yusuke gets reborn as a Mazaku. The fights between him and Sensui is actually really good and really impressive for this series. And the whole thing where it's like, again, it's kind of hasn't aged too well with the whole Sensui, like, you know, him seeing the evil of the world in the Chapter Black actual like videotape, because we live in the area of the internet, so we can literally see Chapter Black on the internet now. We get to see all of humans worse and everything like that. But I do really like they're showing that Sensui was like a little kid when he became a spirit detective, and all he saw was black and white, and he couldn't handle any thoughts of gray, and it really destroyed him. And it kind of shows us now, because a lot of people see people are good and people are evil, and they see anyone do anything of the gray, they kind of lose their mind a little bit. Granted, this anime is giving him like 7 different personalities when we only see like at most 3, but near the end, when, you know, you see the end of it, he gets all his personalities to go into one. Now, there's one big thing I didn't really like the anime did. They take out the entire subplot of the whole King Enma was really manipulating demons and making them evil so he can have a reason to exist and have a reason for Yusuke to be attacking the demons. Because in the manga, it's like he is doing this on the low behind Enma Jr.'s back, and he gets overthrown, and like Koenma takes over his role. But in this, is like he's never shot out as evil at all, and like that whole subplot validates Sensui's entire character arc. And again, there's some stuff in the manga that's just damn near too dark, and I don't blame the anime for doing it. Like that whole Makuro, and they're not like, and she literally was like raped by her dad, and like I get it. You don't want all of that in there, right? They imply it with different OVAs, because the anime ends in a way where like they leave out a lot of stuff, but then they come in years later, especially the recent one, the 2019 OVA, where they actually fill in some blanks from the manga. But regardless, the Chapter Black Saga, I really loved it. I think that's a strong 8 out of 10 saga. Actually, I'll give it a 9. It's the best arc. Like, it's what makes Yu Hakusho unique as a show, because the first 2 arcs, they're good, but they don't really stand out as like, yo, that is one of the GOAT animes. This is the arc that makes it stand out. And you even see, like, you know, Kurobara get hyped up incredibly with his Dimension Sword and just his abilities and what he does to like fight for Yusuke. And you see like Yusuke trying to accept his role as like, you know, being a half human, half demon. And you see some great foreshadowing of his ancestral father, which is Ryzen, that comes in later. And again, this might be a controversial view, because I know a lot of people like view Yusuke as the anti-Goku, but Yusuke in this arc turns into Goku by the end of it. Like, again, I'm not like, again, people have their opinions about Goku, especially Super Goku, but one of the biggest things about Goku is that he is loved a lot by his friends, by his strength, and is willing to become, like, you know, willing to bring people on his side and be a great fighter, and wanting to fight stronger opponents over and over, right? Like, that's like one of his big things. He wants to protect the planet. He wants to protect his friends. His friends really enjoy who he is as a person, especially since he's a fighter and not the smartest guy on the planet. And, like, you know, he's growing stronger all the time, right? Yusuke but kind of goes into this narrative in the Chapter Black Saga. So I remember I heard a comment saying like, Yusuke is very similar to Goku. I was just like, what the hell are you talking about? They're nothing like. But this arc, by the end of it, when he gets that demon power, it's kind of like when Goku gets that Saiyan ideology thing. It's very similar in many aspects there. But, you know, Yusuke, by the 3 King Saga, which is kind of short, by the way, but by the 3 King Saga, he's obsessed with this like I need to know my heritage, and he's bored. Like he wants to fight stronger people than Sensui because he's a S class now, and S class is like the highest thing in the planet. And you see the backgrounds of Yusuke, Hiei, and Kurama. One of the sad parts is that Kurabara is left in the dust in this arc. And again, I'm a big Kurabara fan. Like a lot of his speeches, that voice is just incredible, bro. Again, Chris Sabat killed it. It just kind of sucks that he's just kind of gone for this arc. And I get it. You know, he gets really strong later on, like by the end of the series. Like, you know, he is a low-key S-class character, but I really wish he could have tagged along. But I understand that, like, you know, they really wanted to focus on, like, the demon characters. But it kind of felt like one of those, like, you know, when Dragon Ball went more to Saiyans and they didn't care about the humans anymore. This one, it was just like, I don't think they need to go that route. I really feel like they could have brought in Kurabara, but I think Kurabara... He's too much of a plain slate. Like we know his background, we know his character, while we didn't know too much about Kurama, Yusuke's new background, and Hiei. So I guess that was a good move there. And you get to see, like, you know, Yusuke work with Ryzen, you get to see Kurama work with Yomi, and you get to see Hiei work with Mukuro. And I think they're all great matches. Again, like I said before, Mukuro's background in the manga is over the top, yo. Like Togashi is just edgy as hell in his manga. So the anime still implies a lot of that stuff is true, especially in the OVAs and everything like that. But again, that's dark. Then you have Yomi, which the voice acting in the dub is incredible. Also the dub voice for Kurama is really good too. And you get to see that. It's funny how, like, if Kurama never would have got hurt, he would have been one of the three kings, because Kurama was already stronger than Yomi back in the day. It's just that for majority of this series, like, Kurama never really tries that much. Like, he trains a little bit, but he relies mostly on just using his past power and just kind of getting stronger subsequently by fighting more people. So I feel like Kurama really wasn't that impressive this arc in terms, like, again, I like that we learned his background in comparison to Yomi, but he doesn't really make that many leaps in character until, like, out of nowhere, because it's different in the manga and the anime, that he just stops wanting to use Yoko for, like, some reason. That was, like, kind of weird that they kind of made that decision. But we see that Yusuke is pretty much getting closer to Ryzen, and they use the whole thing like Ryzen is his dad, which again, we see Yusuke's dad in the manga, and again, in the manga, also Yusuke's mother is way more important in the manga than she is in the anime. Like, you know, Kurabara's sister, she pretty much takes the place and looks exactly the same as Yusuke's mother throughout the entire series. So it's up to you if you wish that Yusuke's mom was more evolved, because I thought I was going to see her again, and by the end of the series we don't see her at all. So yeah, I wish they would have balanced it out a little bit more, or like at least have, I don't know, like maybe Yusuke's mom right there with Kurabara's sister, and they could have had some like funny moments. But it's like they literally made Kurabara's sister Yusuke's mom. Like, that's kind of sad, yo. Like, she's way more important in the manga. But anyway, regardless that, you know, we know Yusuke's real dad is like still in love with his mom, but they can't really stay together because, you know, they both are like toxic towards each other. But we see that Ryzen becomes like, you know, his kind of true dad, really. And it's some good moments there. We kind of learned that because again, even though I made jokes that Yusuke's whole cliche, my friends, my girlfriend type thing, it's laid pretty thick that Yusuke locks all his powers behind his emotions. Like, it's overused now. It was abused a lot by Fairy Tail and other shows like that. But I think it's pretty legit here. We see that Ryzen was willing to die so he didn't betray his love and trust for the person that he fell in love with, which is was the ancestor for Yusuke. And like, we learned that the demon power skipped many generations to find someone strong enough, and Yusuke was the strongest person for that ability. And I like their bond, even though Ryzen's time is very short. He makes an impact, especially where he's just Piccolo in terms of voicing, or Piccolo Vegeta, wherever you want to, you know, say with Chris Sabat. Yeah, so we like, and it's funny enough, right? Dragon Ball Super kind of takes some ideas from this arc where Yusuke figures out a way to stop everyone from fighting by creating a tournament, which again, the parallels between Goku and Yusuke are pretty interesting, because Yusuke takes some stuff from old Goku, and new Goku takes some stuff from old Yusuke. So again, the parallels are there. We see the tournament again. I'm not gonna lie, the anime's interpretation of the tournament is a little bit rushed. I do like some scenes in there, but the animation, it just doesn't live up to the quality of Chapter Black, and the fight scenes don't really live up to the quality of some of the Dark Tournament, to be honest with you. Again, I like the emotional resonance with Hiei versus Makuro. I love that. But I feel like Kurama's whole thing was just kind of forced in the anime, because the manga, he has no problems with going Yoko, right? But it's off screen anyway. But I'm glad they at least gave him some type of character development. Just kind of feel like his whole arc kind of just like flipped out of nowhere. Then you see Yusuke versus Yomi, right? And someone, you know, they had some comments telling me like, you know, my opinions over that is a little bit unwarranted. But I'm just going to talk about the anime's interpretation. It just feels like Yusuke goes from like, you know, this whole Goku type personality. He wants to fight stronger opponents. Like everyone loves him because they're all like all the people that are here want to fight him. And then as soon as he gets punched by Yomi, he's like, "What am I doing here?" I'm just like, "What?" It was such an abrupt jump. I was just like, "Okay, Yusuke, cool." And I was reading like different people's opinions on it, and apparently it's different in the manga. And like that wasn't in there in the manga, so I was just like, yeah, it felt really abrupt. Like again, I like the shout outs towards like to Goro, to Sensui and stuff like that. But again, it felt kind of forced a little bit. But again, the fight was pretty good. Not as good as Sensui versus Yusuke, but I would say at least on par or maybe slightly better. Nah, I think it's on par with Yusuke versus Toguro. Like, again, I think it just I really like that Yusuke is able to use his spirit power along with his demon power. I always remember that scene, especially when I watched it on Toonami. Then it ends with like this like thing where like they both clash. It's just the thing I have a problem is that we just kind of skip over the entire rest of the tournament, and we just know that I think Makai, I think if I said that correctly, yeah, Inky, my bad. Inky wins the tournament, and you have to read the manga to kind of know what happens after that. Then we go to a time skip, you know, with the 3 years that that Yusuke promised that he'll be back with Keiko. And one thing I gotta give this show credit is that Keiko can be really like, you know, what the cliches like, you know, the damsel in distress, waiting for her boyfriend to come back. But she always stands as a strong female character in her own way, not too forced, but also like just resident, like, you know, just a powerful character in her own way. With, you know, the Botons and Kurobara's sister, they're like their own little crew there. But, you know, we get to a 3 year time skip. You know, everyone's finally their legit age of their character designs. Like, Kurobara is finally 18. He kind of becomes famous for his, like, spiritual awareness. You know, you have your Kurama there. You have Hiei living with Makuro, and Makuro's gotten weaker because she has a nicer personality now since Hiei and Makuro are, like, together like that. So I guess you could say the couples are, like, Hiei and Makuro. I guess you could say Kurobara and Yukita. I think it's more canon in the manga. That you, of course, you get to the end where you have Keiko just pretty much saying like, "I'm done with you, Yusuke," and Yusuke says, "I don't want you to wait either." And that was a beautiful scene. Like, regardless of how, you know, they skipped over a lot of stuff, it's kind of crazy how many animes do that whole, like, you know, that beautiful ocean scene. Like, you can kind of see how Attack on Titan kind of took that with the whole, like, they finally meet the ocean, the art and animation just kicks up by 1,000,000. And you see Yusuke finally shows up and they kiss. And they handled the relationship between Yusuke and Keiko way better in the anime, because I learned in the manga they never kiss. It's just one of those, like, you know, it's implied type thing, like that whole fairy tale where you hype up Natsu and Lucy for dating the entire series. Then when the series ends, they don't kiss or whatever. Like, I'm really glad that they actually like let you know that they are dating and it's a real thing. And it's just a beautiful scene, man. You got the opening music playing, and I'll say the music in this series, the opening is like goated. Like, it's one of the best opening songs of all time. But the music was kind of repetitive for the first two arcs. It was just like the same OSTs over and over again. But when the Chapter Black hits, it's like they got new tracks, like the Yusuke power up track, the Sensui track, and everything like that. They actually had like a guitar string to it. Really enjoyed that. The OST got a lot better after Chapter Black. It was just really repetitive for a little bit. I think that's how a lot of old animes were. Like, even if you listen to the original like OSTs for like Dragon Ball Z, if you listen to the Japanese versions, they replayed a lot of tracks, a lot of them. So again, I looked at the manga to learn more context of what's going on. I looked at the OVAs. You know, they skipped over a few scenes. Like, you know, like in the anime, it's implied that Yusuke is never a spirit detective again, and he's never coming back. You know, Koenma doesn't run shit anymore. But no, Koenma is the, you know, the new spirit king over there, because King Enma was a crook. We learned that Yusuke is still a spirit detective on the low, and he has like one final mission, which they animated in the OVA. But overall, this series, man, it's still a great series. It's just that the first two sagas, the Dark Tournament and the Spirit Detective sagas, they've kind of aged a little bit. Some of the stuff doesn't hit, but again, Kuroba's voice acting is incredible. Yusuke's character development is really great. I just think Hiei abilities they don't really grow or change too much. Just mostly just the same dragon over and over again. And Kurama is like, I really love Kurama for who he is as a character, but that whole flip where he doesn't care about Yoko randomly kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I do like where they end up. I like that Kurama is mostly focusing on his human side. I just wish he cared more about his demon side, really. I like that Hiei finds someone that he can really find comfort in with Mikuro. And I like that Yusuke, even though he became more of a Goku type, he finally gave it up to be with Keiko. It's a little bit different in the manga, but it's still really good there. And I like that Kuroba is not only trying to live life to be around Yusuke, and that's why he was able to survive those years when he wasn't there. Again, I'm really disappointed that the anime just completely skipped out a whole King Enma's evil thing. That really just that makes the Chapter Black saga even better, yo. So if I had to, like I said before, I had to rank these arcs. Chapter Black is a damn near 9 out of 10. The manga version is probably a 10 out of 10. The Three Kings is good for the first half, but then it's just rushed to hell near the end. I like the Yusuke versus Yomi fight and everything, but again, some character motivation was kind of weird in my personal opinion. So I'll give that a strong 7 out of 10, strong 6 to 7. I get the Dark Tournament a 7 out of 10 just because a lot of iconic moments. The Spirit Detective is just, the first half is amazing. The other half is just a lot of super cliches that, again, you can't really be mad at because it's one of the fathers of it. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. So the overall series, I'll give it a strong 8 out of 10. For the personal people who are asking, do I think it's better than Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z? Again, this might piss a lot of people off, but I don't think so. But I think it's right up there. Because again, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, especially Dragon Ball Z Kai, because they get rid of a lot of filler. It's like my favorite anime of all time, right? Again, it's not the best anime of all time, in terms of like written animation, stuff like that, but it's my favorite. You could probably argue Hunter x Hunter or like one of the shorter animes like Death Note or something like that is like a better overall anime. But in terms of like my favorite, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball are up there. But Yu Yu Hakusho definitely still lives up in different arcs. But like I said before, the first 2 arcs kind of aged a bit, especially with Yusuke, still being a creep and still saying a lot of messed up things to LGBTQ. Oh my gosh, man. I'm really glad no one's attacking this series because of those comments. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think about Yu Yu Hakusho in the comment section down below. I know I said this was going to be short, and I realized I'm on the 32-minute mark, baby. A lot of editing if this video gets any views. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Check out all the videos I've been uploading in the past weeks. Again, I'm gonna be rewatching Inuyasha a little bit. Then I'm gonna go straight into Hunter x Hunter, and then I'm gonna go into Mob Psycho and JoJo. Yeah, JoJo. Definitely gonna go into that. So thank you guys for all the love and support. We're almost to 20,000 subscribers. Please subscribe and click all notifications. Let's try to get this video to at least 45 likes. SonTj, peace. Love you all.